Welcome everybody to another episode of Deep DISCOG Dive. I'll get into the introduction of the album we're going to be reviewing today, but for now I really quickly just wanted to show off to you guys something that I received in the mail recently. I finally, after months and months of waiting, received my limited edition run vinyl of Eminem's most recent album, Music to Be Murdered By. Now granted, I was kind of hoping that I would have picked up some of his classic records before I picked this one up. However, I'm just not in the position to really spend money on a lot of vinyl at the moment. And I remember when this album came out, I was pretty excited, and overall I enjoyed the album, so I wanted to pick up this limited edition run because the vinyl is pretty special on this. This isn't just a regular black vinyl. The reason this is a limited edition run is because the vinyl itself is blood splattered. It looks fucking phenomenal, and there's actually two discs. There is this disc right here, which has side A and side B, which is what's facing you at the moment, and then there is a second disc that looks pretty much the same, but we have side C and D. If you guys are curious of what the inside looks like, right over here we have each song and the credits to the song, you know, who produced the track, who wrote it, and stuff like that. Over on the other side here, we have some pictures of Eminem himself, just some art for this album. I like this picture specifically. He kind of looks like R.A. the Rugged Man. Sorry if the lighting is kind of off. It's kind of hard to see, but on the back we just have some more art. We have a message from Eminem himself on the back of it. I thought it looked pretty cool. I love the blood splattered vinyl. I think it looks amazing. And these songs were specifically mastered for vinyl as well. They were remastered. I listened to a few songs off of this album through my speakers and they sounded absolutely phenomenal. I don't want to keep this little segment of the video too long. I really quickly just wanted to show this off to you guys. I thought it was really cool. It's a limited edition run. I don't know if you can actually still pick these up. But anyway, I'm going to pop this into the corner with the other vinyl that I have in my small collection, and we are going to proceed with today's video. Getting back on track, today we are going to be reviewing the classic Kanye West album, Late Registration, which came out in 2005. An album that is loved by many, including myself. It is actually one of my favorite Kanye West albums ever. In my last episode of Deep Discog Dive, which was episode 1 for Kanye West, we reviewed his debut album, which was The College Dropout. And so, moving into episode 2 for Kanye West, of course, we're moving on to his next album, which is Late Registration. What I do on this series is I follow a very similar format to my top to bottom series, and what I do in that series is I take an album, I review it, and I sort each song in the album from worst to best in my opinion, and at the end of the video I will give you guys a score of what I thought of the overall project. So without further ado, let's hop straight into it. There are 17 cuts on this album that I will consider songs, and at the number 17 spot we have We Major. I will put this out really quickly that in my personal opinion, this is the only track on the album that I would actually kind of consider a little bit of a dud. I want to get into the things that I like about this track. First, I do like Really Doe's chorus. Also, the production is very nice, very airy. Nas's verse is really great too. However, my biggest issue with this track is that it just goes on for way too long in my opinion. It is the longest track on the whole album at 7.5 minutes. And quite honestly, I don't feel like this song justifies that length at all. To me, it kind of gets mind-numbingly repetitive with the "come on homie, we made ya." That part comes through on this song just too many times for me to really enjoy it. And the thing is that this song could have been shorter. I don't feel like it actually needed to be 7.5 minutes. There is an ending section that features Kanye just himself, and I felt like that whole part was just completely unnecessary, made the song overstay its welcome just a little bit too much. So yeah, as I said, I feel like this is the only song in the album that, to me anyway, is just a little bit of a dud, a little bit of a dull moment on the album. I don't dislike it, I do enjoy it, but it just goes on for a little bit too long for me to love it, kind of like the rest of this project. In the number 16 spot, we have Celebration. This track to me almost feels like a precursor of sorts to his next album that would come out, which is Graduation, as this song comes off very Graduation-like. The synths that are placed throughout this song are really nice. The hook on this song is pretty catchy, and the bridge is very good. Overall, the production on this song song I would say is very blissful feeling. In the number 15 spot, we have the closer to the album, Late. The Whatnot sample used on this track is so creepy. It's manipulated in such a strange way. The general theme of this song is Kanye being late for certain events. He relates being late to college in the same way that he is late with releasing his albums. Kanye's overall performance on this track is pretty good, and the instrumentation is just executed so well. On a final note, I will say that this is a pretty solid closer to the album in my opinion. In the number 14 spot, we have We Can Make It Better. There is a beautiful, uplifting trumpet beat on this one. The chorus is sung by Kanye in a very pretty way. There are plenty of featured artists on this track, but the ones that really stood out to me were Q-Tip and Talib Kweli. Overall, I would just say that this is another very solid cut to add to the track list. In the number 13 spot, we have Bring Me Down. On this track, we have some beautiful singing from Brandy over some gorgeous sounding violins. Kanye is mainly talking about his haters and how they'll always be there in your life to try and crush your dreams. He also touches on the fact that creating music kept him alive during a time where he was barely living. One thing that really sells this song to me is the really grandiose production. I love how it seems to just build up to a big climax. In the number 12 spot, we have My Way Home. This is a very nicely produced track by Kanye himself. Common is featured on this one and his rapping is really good. I will say that this song is slightly less exciting for me than all the incredible cuts that came before it, but unlike a song like We Major, it doesn't overstay its welcome. It's only 1 minute and 43 seconds long, so even though I don't find it as gratifying as the songs that came before it, it is not bad whatsoever. I actually quite enjoy it, but if this song went on for much longer, I could see myself starting to really dislike it. Overall, a very nice cut, and I'm very glad that it is so short. In the number 11 spot, we have Gone. The samples used on this song of The Show and It's Too Late are wonderful. I know that this is a classic Kanye album, obviously, but I can't help but feel like this song in particular comes off so much like classic Kanye. There is an infectious groove enveloping this entire track. Kanye's rapping as well is very solid, and his flow is just perfect on top of this instrumental. The hooks as well are a very nice touch. I also love the featured artists on this track. Cameron and Consequence spit some great flowing verses. My favorite part though is Kanye's last verse. The way the instrumental kind of changes, it starts to become a little bit menacing, and I love some of the lyrics, specifically the line where he says, "I'm ahead of my time, sometimes years out, so the powers that be won't let me get my ideas out." Entering the number 10 spot, and this is just going to give you an idea of how amazing this album is, we're putting Crack Music at the number 10 spot, and this, in my opinion, is where we get into some of Kanye's greatest songs ever. Only at the number 10 spot. So yeah, Crack Music in this position. There is some boom bap production from Ye and John Bryan. There's a really grimy and dark, chilling chorus by Kanye and The Game. The subject matter mainly touches about the drug problems in DC and Maryland. This song manages to capture a plethora of different feelings all in one, ranging from despair, anger, and triumph. There is a powerful spoken word outro from Malik Youssef. Overall, I would just consider this another incredible highlight on the album, touching on some important topics as well. In the number 9 spot, conveniently following up Crack Music, we have Addiction. This song is similar in the sense of its atmosphere to a track that I will touch on later, Drive Slow, which has this really creepy feel to it. The Etta James sample is so fucking unsettling. Of course, given the title of this track, what Kanye is talking about is addiction, with a fantastic hook that says, "Why everything that's supposed to be bad make me feel so good? Everything they told me not to is exactly what I would. Man, I tried to stop, man. I tried the best I could." This track also gives off some very subtle feelings of paranoia. The third chorus, which is sung by strings instead of Kanye West, is a nice touch. This song is also so alluring, similar to the addictions that are discussed throughout this song. In my opinion, this is a huge highlight, and it's only at the number 9 spot. In the number 8 spot, we have Gold Digger. Okay, I'm gonna tell you guys something that might blow you away. I actually didn't like this song before I heard it on the album. I listened to this album for the first time maybe over just half a year ago. All the way from 2005 up until maybe last year, I did not enjoy this song, which is kind of mind-blowing because now it's one of my favorite moments in Kanye's entire discography. And the thing is, I can't exactly put a finger on why I didn't enjoy it. It was just a song that I had heard before, but just really didn't excite me all that much. But then when I listened to it in the context of the album, this song fucking blew me away. Jamie Foxx is featured on this song and he delivers a really great setup. It also has this incredible tongue-in-cheek quality to it. The beat on this song is amazing. Jamie's voice is chopped and placed throughout the track in such a mesmerizing and a groovy way. The lyrics are mainly about gold diggers, men who get played out of their money. We have the iconic chorus from Kanye West. Now I ain't saying she a gold digger, but she ain't messing with no broke. Listening to this song, this also convinced me that I need to make sure that I get a prenup before I get married. Overall, I would just consider this a perfect track that probably pissed off a lot of women at the time. In the number 7 spot, we have Touch the Sky. This track comes off so 2000s to me. This track is just so slick. It makes me feel like I am on top of the world. The drum patterns on this track are amazing. The crashes and the cymbals add so much. We have those iconic horns playing throughout and the iconic Kanye quotables that we all know too well. The fantastic lines that he uses to end some of his verses, such as a hip-hop legend, I think I died in that accident cause this must be heaven. Or another line such as, I'm trying to right my wrongs, but it's funny the same wrongs helped me write this song. Maybe hearing them from me isn't communicating how well these lines were executed, but go and listen to this track, they are amazing. The way the beat cuts out when he delivers those lines, God, it's just so nasty. The chorus as well is just killer. It has this really successful feel to it. I also love the little nuance in Kanye's vocal harmonies when he says, baby, I'm going on an aeroplane and I don't know if I'll be back again. We also get the debut of Lupe Fiasco on this track. Lupe's verse is incredibly smooth and very lyrically impressive. In the number 6 spot, we have Drive Slow. This song samples Hank Crawford's Wildflower, which was also a song that was sampled by Tupac, Eminem, and J. Cole. The slow tempo of this song creates such a chilling atmosphere. Just picture this. Imagine you're driving around at night listening to this song. It's just so creepy. Similar to the song Addiction, I want you to listen to this song and look at the album cover while you're listening. It gives off a feeling, again, of paranoia. The occasional jazzy horns that are placed throughout this track really add that Kanye touch. We get verses from Kanye, Paul Wall, and GLC, and they're all very good. The track slows down in tempo even more towards the end of the track, and it is so eerie sounding. It is one of my favorite songs on the album and one of my favorite moments in Kanye's entire discography. In the number 5 spot, we have Diamonds from Sierra Leone, the remixed version. The James Bond sample is fantastic. We have an iconic hook from Ye with nods to Outkast with the forever, ever, ever, ever. On this song, Kanye mainly talks about the origin of the jewelry that he wears, how some people were harmed and even lost their lives trying to source these diamonds just for other people to sell them and to profit off of them. That's specifically why in this song he calls them blood diamonds. We get an amazing Jay-Z feature. I specifically love the line where he says, I had to get off the boat so I could walk on water. Again, another favorite on the album. In the number 4 spot, we have Diamonds from Sierra Leone, but this time not the remix version, the original. I actually slightly prefer this version of the song because Jay is not on it. And don't get me wrong, Jay's part on the remix is fantastic, but I actually prefer Kanye just spitting throughout the entire thing. It's just that Kanye went so hard on this. He didn't have to. Kanye's rhyming patterns on this track are top tier. He just packs so many rhymes. Kanye's flow as well is just smooth as hell, especially with lines that go, Alicia Keys tried to talk some sense in him, 30 minutes later seeing there's no convincing him. And my favorite lines throughout the entire song just because of how hard Kanye delivered them and wouldn't change by the change or the game or the fame. When he came in the game, he made his own lane. There's also some great wordplay on this track with the line, yeah, the beat cold, but the flow is anemic. Also, the ending bars are delivered in such a cold way, Right here stands a man with the power to make a diamond with his bare hands. Jesus Christ, that song was so fucking hard. In the number 3 spot, we have Roses. The contrast between Diamonds from Sierra Leone to Roses is crazy because this song is so much softer. It's actually a tear-jerking moment. It is truly devastating to listen to. The production is phenomenal. Some of the best in Kanye's entire discography, in my opinion. It talks about Ye's grandmother and an incident that happened where she almost passed away. This song is fantastic in the way that it puts fully on display the huge range of emotions running through Kanye's head at this crippling point in his life. Overall, I would just say that this song is perfect with a beautifully manipulated sample and is one of my favorite songs in Kanye's entire discography. In the number 2 spot, we have the opening song, Heard 'Em Say. This is a perfect intro. There's this infectious beat buildup in the first few seconds. Those little ringing sounds throughout this song are so meticulous and perfect. To me, it is the first incomparable magical moment on this entire album. And the second magical moment is created by Adam Levine's amazing singing. The hook is one of the most iconic in Ye's discography. When you dive into the lyrics of this track, they are quite serious in tone, talking about racism, but there is a childlike innocence that is captured fantastically on this song. I love it. I just love it so much. And finally, in the number 1 spot, my favorite song on this album, Hey Mama. This song is so heartwarming, especially with what might be the sweetest sounding chorus that Kanye has ever put together. I'm sure you could have guessed by the title of this song, but throughout the entire thing, Kanye is just showing appreciation to his mother for taking care of him, raising him the way that she did. Every single verse, every single word in those verses is packed with so much emotion. There are lines such as, my mama told me to go to school, get your doctorate, something to fall back on, you could profit with, but still supported me when I did the opposite, which is something that I can personally relate to because I've gone through that exact same thing where my mom wanted me to go to college, get my degree, and I chose not to, but she still supported me through all of those decisions. Listening back to this song in hindsight after an album like 808s and Heartbreak is truly heartbreaking. It creates such a bittersweet feeling because on one hand, the song is just so happy, but on the other end, you sort of realize that Kanye lost this important, the most important person in his entire life, where it kind of makes listening to this song really difficult to do. Once again, similar to Heard 'Em Say, there is this wonderful innocence that is captured perfectly on this song. It's such a fantastic moment, and in my opinion, one of the best that Kanye has ever delivered to us. So yeah, that has been Late Registration by Kanye West. As you can tell, I fucking love this album. This is, on a personal level, one of my favorite albums that Kanye has ever released. I would probably say that at this current point in time, this is, to me, in the top 3 Kanye West albums ever. Of course, I think it's a classic. You know it's a classic. It is a truly magical moment in his discography, a fantastic sophomore album. And while I don't think it is as good as his debut album, The College Dropout, don't think that that's me communicating that this is not a fantastic release, because absolutely it is. It is worth your time. If you love The College Dropout, you'll probably love this because this album, in a sense, is almost a sequel to that one. It has a very similar flow and feel to it of just happiness in the way that The College Dropout did. This is still a fantastic project and one of my favorites that Kanye has ever put out. And while, as I said, it's not as good as The College Dropout, it doesn't need to be as good as The College Dropout to still be an incredible release. And yeah, that's just going to leave me with scoring the album. And in terms of scoring it, I think it is just the slightest step down from The College Dropout, so I'm giving this a 9 out of 10. If you haven't listened to this album, which would in turn probably mean that you didn't listen to The College Dropout either, what the fuck, you need to go back and you need to listen to this album and The College Dropout, and quite honestly, you need to listen to Kanye's entire discography. Really quickly, before I wrap this video up here, I want to touch on the skits. There is a skit at the beginning of this album called Wake Up Mr. West, which is basically just a build up to the following song, Heard Him Say, which is a very nice transition, may I add. And there are 4 other skits that sort of intertwine in theme, skit 1, 2, 3, and 4. The overall theme of these skits is about being broke and how some people celebrate the idea of being broke when really they should be trying to strive towards creating a better future for themselves. Kanye was obviously trying to portray that he was part of this group, whether that was real or not, but Kanye wanted more out of life, and these people were trying to hold him back, saying that he shouldn't feel proud of the fact that he's taking showers and that he's smelling good and that he's got all this money and that he's making beats on the side. It almost sounds like this cult that are proud of being broke, which is fine if that's how you genuinely feel, but Kanye wanted more out of life, as I said, and so he decided to start making music, and so they decided to kick him out of that group because you can't be making money around them. But anyway, as you can tell, I absolutely love this album. As I said, one of my favorites that he's ever put out. This has been Late Registration, Kanye West, Deep Discog Dive, finished. I'm gonna wrap this video up here. So yeah guys, that's pretty much the end of the video. If you guys enjoyed, make sure you smack the like button. If you want to stay up to date with my content, please be sure to subscribe. I'll have my last video in the corner. If you haven't checked that out already, definitely make sure to check it out. Hope you guys enjoyed. Thanks very much for watching. Peace out.